What's up guys, I'm back with another review, and this time we are looking at the Marvel Legends Age of Apocalypse Sabretooth action figure. At the top of the box we have the Age of Apocalypse logo. Down to the bottom, some product information. And onto the side, Sabretooth looking real ferocious with some red accents around him. And onto the back, more of the same Sabretooth artwork, the character's description, the other figures in the wave. And onto the last side is the same artwork, so let's go ahead and get him open. On the plastic tray we see the action figure. He's got two swappable hands, a spare head, and the Colossus Build-A-Figure head as well. And on the second tray behind it, we have a strap from Colossus bandana and the two ponytails for Sabretooth. The two ponytails are exactly the same sculpt, cast in a light yellow plastic, sculpted detail in them just to show the flowing texture of the hair. There's also a sculpted and painted hair tie at the top, and beyond that there is a peg. This peg will pop into the hole on the back of both Sabretooth heads, and popping it into the spare head as well. Taking a closer look at the spare head, very nice sculpt for the sneering expression on his face, sharply applied paint for the yellow eyebrows. His eyes are given a white pearlescent paint with black on the outline. It appears that it's applied slightly off the sculpt, but that's barely noticeable. Paint on the teeth is also really sharply applied. A bit of that red over here for the gum, and there's also a very subtle shading for the 5 o'clock shadow around his mouth. Overall, I love this head sculpt. It captures the ferocity of Sabretooth really well. And then we move on to the hair sculpt as well. He looks really natural with two locks of hair falling down the front of his forehead, and more of that same yellow plastic for his coarse hair that runs from the top of his head all the way down to the sides of his sideburns. He's got really big ears as well, and despite being two separate pieces, the hair color also matches up from the top of the head to that ponytail. So overall this is really well done. And of course this spare head also pops on really well and sits perfectly fine onto the figure. He comes with two spare fists. They are cast in the brown plastic, sculpting detail to show the seams on them so they look like gloves. And on the outside of the right hand, he's got an armor piece that's painted in a gunmetal color. The two fists are articulated inwards as well as outwards. And of course the two fists pop on just fine onto the figure. Zooming into the default head sculpt, again this is really nice work from Hasbro. He's got a calmer expression on his face, kinda like a cheeky grin. Sharp paint applications once again for the eyebrows and the eyes. This time he's got pupils, and the eyes look really expressive. A super sharp application of white over here for that one tooth that's sticking out of his mouth as he smiles, as well as that same subtle shading around his mouth for that 5 o'clock shadow. He even has a different hair sculpt down the front, just to show that with that spare head. So the different hair in the front is also a nice touch. Onto his torso, he's got a brown collar attached to it, sculpted texture into it for some dings and dents, silver paint for the rivets on the collar as well. This collar is actually a loose piece that kind of slides and moves around. It's attached to the back with a peg hole over here, so you can actually remove it if you want to. I am most likely gonna try to super glue this just to keep it down. The rest of his torso has nice muscle detail on it, and this torso is cast in a burnt orange color. Moving on to his arms, they are big and muscular, nice shading down the sides of the arms to show off the body hair on his arms. He's got a metallic gauntlet on his right arm. This is cast in a metallic looking plastic, and moving downwards it extends with some armor on the back of his right hand. More sculpted detail to show some dings and dents as well as the knuckle guards. And on the left arm it's just a plain brown glove. On his waist, he's got a brown belt. Interesting texture sculpted into it just so it looks like some sort of leather. This brown belt is also a separate piece that you can move around depending on how you want to use it. Moving down to his legs, the rest of his upper legs are also cast in that same burnt orange plastic. And there's also brown plastic for his boots. There's more sculpted detail over here with the same texturing that you see on his belt, just to show off that leather texture on the boots. And you also see that same sort of muscle definition all the way down the back of the figure, and the same texturing on his boots. For articulation, his head's on a ball hinge, so that goes 360. He's able to tilt a little bit left and right, looking down pretty well as up quite a fair bit. And not forgetting that peg on his ponytail, so you can also articulate his hair whatever way you want. Swivel hinge at the shoulders, so that goes 360, as well as moving out pretty far. Upper bicep swivel, so that goes 360 as well. Single hinged elbows, that gets you just about under 90 degrees. That's because of the bulky muscle sculpted on his arm. Swivel hinge at the wrist, so that goes 360. And also articulating in as well as out. He's got a mid-torso ab crunch, so he goes forward quite a fair bit as well as backwards. For me, I choose to slide that belt just above the swivel so that he gets 360 on his waist swivel. Ball joint at the hips that get you out that far. Pretty decent for a bulky character, as well as forward and backward that much. He's got an upper thigh swivel, so that goes 360. Double jointed knees that get you just past 90 degrees. Again, not too bad for a bulky character. He's got no calf swivel just above the boot, so that is probably a missed opportunity. He's got ankle tilt upwards as well as downwards, and ankle pivot outwards as well as inwards. Because of his bulky sculpt, you actually don't get much range in some of the points of articulation. He doesn't seem to be able to pull his arms together as well, but this overall articulation scheme kind of works, and he feels like a solid figure in hand. However, I would say once you swap on his alternate hands and that sneering hit, pairing him up together with Wild Child, all is forgiven. The pair of them look simply awesome together, and Hasbro has done a fairly good job matching the two tones of burnt orange plastic on both the figures' outfits, despite them being released in separate waves. Sabretooth is a big boy, and he stands at 7 3/4 inches or just above 19.5 centimeters. Not that you will ever pose them this way, but here's Wild Child standing vanilla beside Sabretooth. Here he is with the really disappointing Cyclops, but the really cool Iceman. Sunfire and Blink, Jean Grey and Weapon X, Apocalypse and Dark Beast, Regular Universe Wolverine and Sabretooth, Spider-Man and Iron Man, some G.I. Joe Classified series, and Star Wars Black series. Sabretooth is a great figure on a brand new sculpt. The bulky proportions tend to get in the way of articulation, especially in the arms, so this is a bit of a bummer. But there is plenty that is great about this figure. Both head sculpts are fantastic and suit the character extremely well. The figure feels solid in hand, and once you pair him up with Wild Child, this is absolutely amazing. Please like and share this video, let me know what you think in the comments below, and subscribe to my channel for more toy reviews. Also, don't forget to check out my new TikTok account in the description below. Thanks for watching, take care and stay safe.